In this video, I'm going to talk about if NFTs will make a comeback. So I think a lot of us know how well NFTs, the top NFT collections did last cycle, where Ethereum went from, $100 to almost $5,000. I think we're familiar with some of the leading collections, such as the Bored Ape Yacht Club, which went extremely viral in 2021. The whole world was talking about NFTs. And currently, there's been a bit of a slowdown where there's been less attention on NFTs and there's been more attention on meme coins, for example. And in this video, I'm going to talk about if NFTs will perform well this cycle and what are the best NFT collections to own, and if you should be prioritizing buying meme coins or buying NFTs when it comes to capturing the virality section of the market and the retail section of the market. So first of all, let's understand what is the thesis behind PFP NFTs. So when I say PFP, I mean these NFTs that people have as profile pictures, such as pudgy penguins, bored apes, and crypto punks. So basically, the thesis is quite simple. As more people join crypto, and as we see the prices of cryptocurrencies go up, Bitcoin going to 200, 400, 500, $1 million, more people will need digital identity. And they will need their own personality, their own signal, their own culture. And the PFP NFTs basically is the identification. It's your face on chain, and it's the way people identify. And we already know that on platforms such as X, you have people using these PFPs to represent themselves. For example, if you go on, for example, this is an NFT collection that this guy uses to represent his identity with. And a lot of people do this, right? For example, this person that I follow decides to identify with pudgy penguins because he believes in the value and in the community of pudgy penguins. So basically, it's digital status, and it says, I belong here, and expensive NFTs equal more status. So some of these collections, like the Bored Ape Yacht Club, the CryptoPunks, and Pudgy Penguins, these NFT collections that are more expensive basically give you higher status because everyone recognizes that they're more valuable, such as this Pudgy Penguins here. And look, just here, this is some of the guests he has on his podcast. You can see a couple of them identify with CryptoPunks, and these were actually the first NFT collection on Ethereum, and they show how you're like an OG to crypto, you're an OG to blockchain, and that's the culture and identity with it, right? So it gives people a sense of status and allows people to think they're important or to do business with them, or etc. So now we're going to talk more about trading and investing in them and how to successfully do so. So here we're going to talk about why the chain matters a lot. And we're going to do this by looking at the previous cycle where NFTs on Ethereum blew up. So I talked about how, they pumped hard last cycle. And that's because NFTs were really only on Ethereum. But why was everyone talking about NFTs? Why did they go up so much in value? So they actually went up so much in value because the NFTs are priced in the native token of the chain. So the NFTs on ETH were priced in ETH. So ETH went up a lot, as we discussed earlier, right? It went from $100 to $5,000 per Ethereum token. And then the price of the NFT went up in Ethereum. So I think they were like 0.1 ETH at some point. And then I don't know what the all-time high was. I think they went to maybe I can see on this chart. Let's see. That's April. Let's zoom out. Right, they went to 83 ETH. So they went up a ton. So imagine you buy this for 1 ETH and then it goes to 7 ETH. You make 70x, then ETH goes from, 200 to 5,000. You make crazy multiples. The returns are absolutely stupid. And that's why it's very important to pick NFTs on a chain that you're bullish on, a chain that did well, Ethereum did well last cycle, but if you watch some of my other videos, you'll understand why Ethereum probably won't perform as well as it did last cycle. And coin and blockchains such as Solana and Sui will probably outperform. And that's why in this video I'm going to talk about a collection I really like on Solana and a collection I really like on Sui, so that you can perhaps partake in these crazy multiples that come from the price of Solana going up and the price of the NFT going up in Sol, the token. So we talked about the top three collections: Punks, Bored Apes, Pudgy Penguins, and how you had crazy multiples, and how on Solana and Sui the same thing can happen this cycle. So now let's just talk about what makes a good PFP, a good community. So basically for NFTs, it's very simple. It's actually the same as meme coins. What makes successful meme coins? So it's a combination of just strong community, capturing attention, and owning the narrative. It's about creating a sense of culture, and the floor price will follow, and the NFT will go up in value if you have these things. That I can make a large video on this, but I'm not going to go into what makes a good PFP too much in this video. And I want to actually start off with Solana and the Solana chain. So I have a video. I explained, I think, in a previous video, why I think Solana will do very well this cycle. I also have one for Sui if you're interested. So basically, it's the chain with the most activity, the most users currently, and as well, it's home to the meme coin culture, and it's home to the retail users. So all the retail users are on Solana, because on Solana it's cheaper and faster to transact, right? I think a lot of us also know about the Phantom Wallet and how well Phantom Wallet has been doing at acquiring users onto the Solana ecosystem. And basically, it has a lot of this degenerative spirit. And when I say this word, I talk about people trading like very risky assets, especially like, for example, if you go on a Dex Screener, this is where a lot of new pairs are. And basically, when I say degenerate activity, I mean talking about these like new coins that just go absolutely crazy, and then get nuked, like go up like 1,000%, then fall 80, like very high risk plays. And that's a huge community and a huge ideology on the Solana chain. This is allowed through Pump.Fun, where anyone can create their tokens. And basically, the Retardio Cousin NFT collection kind of represents that ideology and that brand, and those ideas and community that come with trading those kind of assets on Solana. So it's tied to meme coin trading culture, and personally, I think meme coins are actually going to be the best performing asset class this cycle. And because meme coins are going to be so successful, it makes sense to invest in a community which is about trading these meme coins, right? It directly benefits from meme coin activity growth. This NFT collection feels very organic, and basically represents Solana. And that's what you really want. You want an NFT that represents the chain it's on, right? Because basically, whether it's a meme coin, whether it's a DeFi product like Jupiter, or whether it's an NFT, you're actually looking for leverage bets on an ecosystem. So if you're bullish Solana, you want to be finding NFTs that represent Solana and that will go up with Solana, because you can get those crazy multiples as we talked about. So currently these NFTs are at a floor price of, where is it? You can sell them at 4.5. Where's the floor price? Oh, sorry, floor price is 5.35 Solana. So that's currently about $750. And right, let's say Solana goes to like $1,000 this cycle, which I actually think is reasonable. $1,000 Solana, I think, is on the table here. And let's imagine the price just doesn't go up for the Retardio Cousins in Solana. So basically here you would look at a, where it's like $6,000 per NFT, but then they'll also likely go up in value. And let's say the NFTs go up 10x in value. Then you'll have a 10x times like an 8x, and you'll have 80x returns, right? And that's what I talked about on Ethereum, how NFTs can be insane leverage bets on chains that you're bullish on. So this is also PFP all over X, and all over X, if you follow, you know, what they call the trenches, which is basically trading these higher leverage coins that come out every day, and these high rotation games. And then I want to also talk about an NFT collection on the Sui blockchain. So I actually have my own video on explaining why Sui will do well, but it's getting a lot of traction because of the clean user experience, low fees, very fast, and has scalability. It's not a Sui video. If you want to check that out, I'll explain why Sui is good. But right now I want to focus on the NFT collection on Sui, which actually came out very recently. It only came out a couple days ago, and it's called Mystic Yetis. And this is a cheaper collection than the one I mentioned earlier, Retardio Cousins. So if that one is a bit outside your price range, maybe you can participate in this one. Currently at a floor price of 23 Sui. So I think that's, how much is that? Like Sui's at like $3. So 70, 75, $80 per NFT. And basically I'll explain what this NFT collection has. And I believe this is actually the number one brand on Sui. I mean, there's no other brands which are as strong, in my opinion, as Sui, as Lofi on Sui. And it started as a meme coin. So Lofi has its own meme coin. It's one of the top meme coins right here. And it's actually the biggest meme coin on the Sui ecosystem. And it's also, I think, the biggest NFT collection on the ecosystem as well. So when I speak about finding leverage bets on the chain, usually the biggest one is always the best one to play because most of the capital always goes into the biggest of a certain thing. So then whether it's the number one meme coin on Solana, the number one meme coin on ETH, a lot of capital went to Shiba Inu because it was the number one meme coin on ETH. And something similar is happening with Lofi. So I really think that the team here, I actually have my own video on Lofi. So if you want to check out more about Lofi, you can watch that. But yeah, so I believe this is the best positioned NFT collection on Sui. If you're familiar with Brett on Base, which I also have a video on, it feels very familiar, very strong brand, a lot of community support behind it, cult vibes, high recognition, and an early mover. And I think it's the identity play on Sui right now. It's a very new NFT collection, but I believe this has the traction to be the number one collection on Sui. And now I said it's $100 now, right? 23 Sui. I'm very bullish Sui. So if we look at the Sui price, we can see it's currently $3. And I actually made a video on why it'll go to, I think I said $30 or $40 this cycle. So let's say that happens and it goes, 10x from here, right? So currently they're $100 per token, but if they go up 10x, there'll be 1,000. If Sui goes up 10x, there'll be 1,000. And let's say the NFT collection does, 20x, like it does quite well because I think it's the number one collection. You'll have a 20x times a 10x, which is a 200x. So that $100 will, go up 200x, which is like, what is that? 20 grand. So you basically could buy one for 100 and get 20 grand. Obviously, this is not financial advice. This is just imaginary numbers, what I think could happen. But basically, if you understand how crazy the NFTs on Ethereum went last cycle, you can actually see why something like this actually could happen. And about like these crazy multiples of finding the right NFT collection on chains that will do well, such as Sui and Solana. So now a little, negative on the NFT side. So I actually think NFTs will underperform meme coins. So this is a video on why on NFTs, but I still want to, state that I think they underperform meme coins. And this is because meme coins are more liquid, so NFTs are less liquid, and it's harder to flip them. You can only sell them at the floor price. If not, you have to wait for someone else to buy yours. And, you also have to have a certain amount of money to get in to them. So, for example, not everyone has 13 ETH to buy a Bored Ape with. So a lot of people can't get involved, which makes the floor price capped and not able to go up at some point. Like who can buy it at 83 ETH? Like a very few selection of people. Therefore, the price can't really go up anymore from there. On the other hand, meme coins, you can like anyone can put in $5, $10 and make the price go up. So I believe meme coins will actually be a bigger narrative this cycle, but that doesn't mean NFTs and some NFTs won't do very well. But they still continue to define identity. So people identify with meme coins, but there isn't that exclusivity and having your own NFT that really stands out as your identity and allows you to represent a community that you believe in. They also define culture, but again, they'll not go up as fast or as hard as meme coins will this cycle. So yeah, basically PFPs I think will come back and will do well. They'll underperform meme coins, and I would focus on L1s that you're bullish on. In this video I talk about Solana and Sui, but let's say you're bullish on something else, like another L1, whatever Aptos or whatever chain you're bullish on, then I would look for the best NFT collections on those chains. I would follow the culture and the community, the ones that have organic growth, where you see people in the comments really representing and being excited about the coin and the NFT collection, and people actually wearing the NFTs as PFPs, especially on X. And you shouldn't expect these fast pumps, but the best ones will actually be sustainable over time. And I want to talk about Pudgy Penguins, as I think this is actually one of the best NFT collections, maybe the best. This brand has been here for 3-4 years, and they continue just to dominate and be extremely strong. So if you can buy these top NFT collections early, you can have an asset that's really sustainable over the long term. Like they're not just quick flips. You can hold these for several years if you find the right ones. So yeah, this is why I think that NFTs will do well this cycle, not as well as meme coins, but basically I wanted to explain what I think will happen with NFTs this cycle. So if you enjoyed this video, comment down below if you have any questions, and feel free to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.